Hi, folks. I'm back again. We all know how this little game is being played, right? We all know how the little game is being played. Oh my! I'm back up, Nikki. Let me try to text you. But anyway, folks, I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Nikki, I'm sending you a message. So I'm trying to restart the stream. So here we go. Let's see. Trying to. Okay. I knew the stream got cut. Like I said, we all know how this little game gets played, right? Yeah. So anyway, I put up a picture of. If I disappear for a week, folks, you know why. If I disappear for good, Mountain Man speaks on Rumble. Okay. So this is what we're going through, folks, and this is what these people are terrified of. Okay, exactly what happened. I'm still going to show that video clip if I can find it. But bear with me. I'll put one up. I may have to explain it after it's done. This is when the police came and the protesters immediately submitted and bent down in prayer. So let me cut my mic off so I can play that. And I hope Elon Musk did buy Google. But anyway, folks, you see that? This picture I have here is a soldier who is holding up a Bible with the people. Let me see what this video is. This is a different section of the the country, Sao Paulo. You see in the bottom right hand screen in the state of Sao Paulo. So it's happening. Yes, Nikki, thank you. Hit the thumbs up. It's not just in the capital. This is countrywide, and you see these people as they talk with one another and dance a little bit in the streets, and they're letting their voices be heard.
Da Avenida 23 de Maio.
Oh, okay, I'm trying to find that other clip also, if you bear with me, where somebody is carrying an opposition flag and does something. Let me see did I already play this one? Let me see. No, I didn't. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is what's called a human shield. I believe this is where people came into a building that had not been vandalized, a government building that had not been vandalized, and they sat down in front of the glass cabinets as human shields to prevent anyone from damaging them.
Pessoal, os bolsonaristas são assim, estão protegendo o patrimônio da Câmara dos Deputados. Aqui, ó, são nós que estão protegendo, para não deixar os infiltrados, bandidos do PT quebrar. Bolsonarista não quebra nada não, ele está protegendo. Aí, ó. Isso aqui é dentro da Câmara dos Deputados.
So whatever happens as far as my status or the video status, you see that there are thousands of people who are peacefully protesting, not hurting anyone, protecting government property. And I want to try to find that video. My goodness. I might have to go out of my studio, but you definitely see an opposition figure. That's not it. You definitely see an opposition figure kicking the glass of one of the buildings. And I've already played that one. I played that one. Let's see. Well, I don't see it offhand. I'm going to have to, let's see what this, okay. This is the, from where Lula signed a, and this is hard to read too, but it was the best picture I could get. And this one I had to get outside of even a Brazilian Telegram channel. Decree federal intervention in the federal district with the aim of putting an end to serious impairment of public order under the terms in which it specifies. The President of the Republic, in the use of attribution conferred by Article 84, blah, 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 of the Constitution, decree intervention is limited to the area of public safety. So somebody it's not where it's countrywide, they can go around. And that was a fear a lot of people had. And they were under protection at the army barracks. The objective of the intervention is to put an end to serious impairment of public order marked by acts of violence, invasion of public buildings. He's appointed a new person to the position of intervener. Security actions according with the principles and objectives set forth in Article blah, 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 organic law. The intervener is subordinate to the President of the Republic and is not subject to district norms that conflict with necessary measures for the execution of the intervention. The intervener may request, if necessary, the financial, technological, and structural and human resources of the federal district related to the object and necessary to achieve the object of the intervention. And the other part of it is, here I got to expand it. If I can get it. Let's see, I'll get it on there. There we go. So, the intervener may request from any civil and military bodies of the federal public administration necessary means. The federal district that have no direct or indirect relationship with public safety will remain under the ownership of the governor of the federal district. So it's not a blanket statewide or countrywide thing. The intervener with the scope of the state of the federal district will exercise operational control of all district public security bodies provided for, blah, blah, blah. So the state secretariat for the penitentiary administration of the federal district and the military fire brigade of the federal district may be requested for use in public security actions determined. Now, this is important because it says he can request the military fire brigade. Now, that doesn't mean fire like in firing squad. It means to help put out fires, okay? And on this such and such day of publication, blah, blah, blah. So I saw this before I read it. I said, oh my gosh, they're going to start cracking heads and locking people up. But you can see that it is limited. It's not as something that a tyrant usually wants to get as far as emergency decrees, which is the authority to do whatever they want to do. So that is encouraging. Let me see what this one is. Now, I've already showed you that one. I want to show you the one. Now, that one, I don't know. That might have been, if it was taken down. If it was taken down, I'm going to go out of my studio and see if I can find it. It was taken down like that other video I got. There was one where a demonstrator had been shot. And I couldn't show it at all, even though it would just show his face or whatever, because they're very strict on this stuff. And it's all, well, I don't see it. I'll have to put it in another stream. But it is a video where you see people kicking out glass, and they're carrying a flag for this Lula person. And there's nobody, no crowds like you see. It is just a small group of characters kicking out glass windows and doors. And I don't have any idea why it's not in. But if they take videos down, they can pluck that stuff right out of your phone. And that'll scare everybody. So, but anyway, if I had it, even for a brief moment, I know people with a lot more authority and power than I have got it. So, let's see. I'm going to make sure I didn't leave anything out here. Sadly, this is something one of the people on Telegram put up. Are you guys with me? I hope so. Or I've been taken down again. Okay, let me see. I'm not getting anything on my screen. Again, folks, I'm not being pessimistic or anything. From what I saw here, my deduction is that the Patriots will lose ground. It will become way more difficult now unless there's a massive civil unrest with multiple agents from the state going rogue. Funny how I remember a conversation with a friend when all this started. His father is a policeman in Rio, and he had forbidden his 28-year-old son to even get near the demonstrations last year. He told him that it wouldn't do well for the Patriots. You can sum this up with the fact his father was a Mason. And I want to ask if you all heard me, what I was reading, because I was outside the studio, and I'm afraid if I put that post up, it will get flagged. But you heard what that policeman said to his own son. He didn't want him to go to a demonstration in 2018, I believe it was, because he knew what was going to happen, okay? And he belonged to a certain group of people. And maybe that'll be enough to get me in trouble if I hadn't done enough. I'm still going to go out of the studio to look for this little video. And if I find it, I will put it up. And I believe it has been vacuumed out. So chances are if I go back to the same source, it will be gone. Okay. That's called the old college try, right, folks? So anyway, I still have a few things to put up. And I'm just going through my mind what happened. I mean, I got plucked off out of the blue. I don't believe it was the application's fault. But anyway, this is a video. I could have gotten a better video of it, but this is showing trucks dumping dirt and manure in front of checkpoints. And it showed the guards, just letting them do it, not picking up the phone, calling anybody. And the people were like, what are you doing? We're trying to be peaceful. And it was after this video of these trucks coming in that nobody knew who they were, doing something very aggressive and inhibiting travel, that post came up about the policeman who wouldn't let his son go to these demonstrations because of what would happen to him. So anyway, folks, you know what? That video, I had clicked that video, and that's when I went out. So that might have been right when it got taken out. The one where the guys were going around kicking the glass out of the building and waving the flag. Let's see. The guy put it in the name of the party that's for Lula, and it's a red flag, a commie red flag. So anyway, Workers' Party flag, that's what it's called. So I don't know. I didn't do anything to break any terms of service. I didn't show anything graphic or violent or the aftermath of any violence. I just showed prayer and people dancing in the streets and exercising free speech. So we'll see what happens if this is up. But the other thing that was going around was that Bolsonaro had talked to some people in Orlando. And the words he said are going around. Of course, we're not going to hear it on any regular media. But people, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And he said, if you only knew. So that is the saying that's going around Brazil right now. If you only knew what people had planned. And he didn't say it in any way that, gave anything but hope. People felt very hopeful after they heard that from him. And I was going to do, I see that, Aaron. Yeah, they can do that. They can read your screen, and all of a sudden pull the plug. And that's why I believe what happened. And but anyway, so if you only knew is what Mr. Bolsonaro said, and there are calls for him to do something to stop this situation, and there are accusations that he caused it. But good luck to them to try to pin him with something like they're trying to do Mr. T, because he said, I need to put that video up where he's tapping his thumb, So anyway, that last post from that young man, for all I know, some of the people I get these videos from and some of these posts, they may not be free in the morning. And I'm not being dramatic. I mean, these are the type of people that will come in and drag people out of their homes and arrest them. But as you can see, I like this picture because it shows you the sea of people behind them, the type of people who are entering. You see they're citizens. So good luck to them. The thing that they learned, I think, from J6 was they didn't have the players who were actually doing the violence, the window breakers, as I showed my last video. They weren't part of the production. according to hundreds and hundreds of witnesses, they showed up there and the damage was done. And they were sweeping up the glass. They were walking through a place that was covered with fire extinguisher effluent and furniture tipped over for dramatic effect. And I'd like to know who the guy on a cowboy. I don't know, Aaron. You can delete a video, but they don't delete it. They keep it. I've heard of people saying they got in trouble, STRIKE, for something they deleted and posted like a month ago, deleted it a week later, and then a month after that, they got in trouble. So, hey, it's a world event, and we have a right to know about it, don't we? We have a right to know about it, and the people that are involved have a right to be treated fairly. As I said, it's the right to free speech, the right to be able to listen is just as big as the right to be able to speak. I know what I was talking about too, was that policeman they came in that building and the place was a wreck and there was nobody in there but those officers. And they got very aggressive and very threatening with their sidearms. Okay. And I ought to capture that video, but I tell you, I know if I put it up, it's going to be trouble. But it to me, that shows you dead to rights. Who's the problem? These guys were in short sleeves. They were in what you would call uniforms, but it wasn't like these people walked up with their cameras and phones, just like these people you see on this picture right now on the screen. They walked in, they looked in the building, they're like, what in the world? The place was all broken and busted up, and all you saw was a bunch of thug cops. I'll put it that way. A bunch of thug cops. And they got very menacing and threatening. And someday we'll be able to show stuff like that. What kind of a society you can expect if people like this end up in power. I was going to play that video where Obama said we need a civil police force just as well funded. I'll find that. They won't play around? Because that's exactly what he was talking about. Because these so-called peacekeepers, or whatever they want to try to call them, that showed up. The people aren't sure. Are they cops? Are they military? Are they paramilitary? Are they mercenaries? And we know these people hire their own leg breakers. I mean, you saw that in Canada when they were going around bothering people, and the people involved were like, we couldn't even tell which country they were from. Their language was so strange and different. And yet they were in full uniform and riot gear, and somebody paid for them to be there. Somebody paid for them to show up. And that is the fear down here. Oh, and the other thing was, I'll have to get back in my studio to pull that up. Chile has put out a statement that they are ready to intervene or assist the Lula government if they're requested. So the hints that I'm seeing, the things that I am seeing are, boy, I got a video I could play you that'll rattle your cage. I think I'm going to play it right now. Let me put this in the studio this in the studio and this in the studio. I've had this in my studio for a long time, folks. Instead of playing Obama talking about his desire to have a civilian police force, I can play that later. Aaron, I want you to hang in there for just a second to watch this video. The last time there was unrest like this, it was in the Eastern Bloc. I was going to play this when I was talking about drumhead trials. Okay, this is the first of 3 videos I'm going to play when there is heavy civil unrest. Okay.
Good evening. The deposed president of Romania, Nicolae Ceausescu, is dead. So is his wife, Elena. They were executed after a secret trial that found them both guilty of crimes against the state, including genocide. In America, the White House expressed regret that the trial wasn't held in public. But both Washington and Moscow have recognized the National Salvation Front now running the country. We have 3 reports, the first from John Simpson in Bucharest.
It was a stark announcement by the Romanian television announcer. Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife Elena were executed after a trial, they said. They'd been found guilty of genocide, and they were charged also with smuggling huge amounts of money out of the country. Later, pictures of the Ceausescu's trial appeared on Romanian television. Here in the control room of Romanian television, they're showing, of all things, a cartoon film. But there's been such hatred in Romania of the Ceausescu tyranny that, in fact, the reaction here has been primarily one of delight at the news of his death.
It's fantastic. We never believed that we are going to live this day. We hoped we will, but we never believed that we are going actually live this day. It's fantastic.
I think it's the most happy Christmas we had for 20 years long.
The news has taken everybody here by surprise. The assumption had been that the new regime would be merciful, and yet such is the hatred here for the Ceausescus that the immediate reaction was one of delight. Nevertheless, it casts a shadow over the new provisional government's announcement of its platform this evening. Impeccably democratic, it called for free speech, free enterprise, free thought, and help and understanding from the West. The news also came on a day when people had been freely celebrating Christmas for the first time in 4 decades. In Romania, this is still an act of revolution, and the intensity of Ceausescu's repression of religion and thought goes a long way to explaining his and his wife's execution.
That's right, it happened Christmas Day, and I was going to bring it up when I brought up the other things that happened Christmas Day. The Battle of the Bulge and Washington Crossing, Delaware. But this is the last public speech by Nicolae Ceausescu, and this is how the crowds were behaving. And you can see why these people are nervous, that all of them, why some people had their own private security. And then after that, I'll show you the drumhead trial for both him and his wife.
Acestei mare manifestări populare din București, considerând aceasta ca o
At this point, the television went off the air. Electromagnetic recording continued in the broadcasting van and documented this. Command communication from the ruler to the people had broken down, and, as if there were a disturbance in the line, Ceausescu shouted,
Alo! Alo! Allo! 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 Allo!
The cameraman had received instructions to pan to the sky if anything unexpected occurred.
Așezați-vă liniștiți!
Right after the speech, they tried to escape. And there's a story behind that. And there are videos out that are bootlegged recreations of their actual tribunal. This is a short video, a couple of minutes long. This is the actual footage that shows the actual trial of Ceausescu and his wife. And this immediately preceded the fall of the Berlin Wall, right after Ronald Reagan's presidency.
During the trial, there was considerable concern that forces sympathetic to the old regime might try and rescue the Ceausescus.
I was in the courtroom and under orders to execute them if that happened, even at the risk of shooting other people.
The Ceausescus were accused of killing thousands of people during the revolution and in the years before.
Crimă prin înfometare, prin lipsă de căldură, prin lipsă de lumină. Dar cea mai odioasă crimă a fost crima de a încătușa spiritul românesc, sufletul acestui popor. E o minciună. Nu recunosc că am arătat poporul. Vă spun ca să vă gândiți bine că e o minciună în față și arată acum cât de lipsă de patriotism și ce trădare s-a promis în țara.
This was a show trial. After 90 minutes, it ended with the Ceausescus being sentenced to death.
Everybody went out of the courtroom and I was left alone with them. A lieutenant colonel entered the room and ordered me to take them out separately and shoot them. But they said no. They wanted to die together. Then I asked the officers to grant them their last wish, to be shot together.
Now that, as I said, is the actual footage. There is a recreation that goes around. Nicolae Ceausescu is much shorter. The coat that Elena has a different collar on it. But this was the actual footage, and I also have footage of the aftermath of their punishment being meted out. But I didn't record that. I saw it when it happened back in the day, and so believe me, it happened. So Anyway, this is a very serious struggle, what we're watching down south. And they did. The Ceausescus, they did rule with an iron fist. They were stone cold communists. There were people who went hungry and worse. And that is what's happening in Venezuela. And that is what's going to happen in this country. And these people who showed up at their capital showed up all around the country, as you saw by that footage in the other city. They're doing the only thing they can do. The judiciary hadn't helped them. Bolsonaro can't help them. And the army, who knows what they're going to do. And what the some of the things I see on Telegram and other sources, a lot of the young people feel that when push comes to shove, that the army is going to want their paychecks more than they're going to want to help their countrymen. And that's a terrible thing terrible way to feel. But, you know, when you're dealing with large bureaucracies, your neighbors, they get if they get a big check from the government, if they get all those benefits I discussed in the past, all of a sudden they're not so concerned about friendship or their fellow country folk. They're more concerned about their own comfort and their own security. That is just a sad fact. And hopefully things won't get to the point what happened to the Ceausescus, where the economy deteriorated to the point where people members of the army were directly affected. The economy was so crippled and so twisted that they couldn't even take care of their army. And that was their downfall. So we've got an international group of non-government organizations that are paying these mercenaries. They're paying off army officers, judges, prosecutors. Okay? And that's only going to last so long. But it is working right now, where it's worth more to a lot of people to violate their own fellow citizens' rights for their benefit. But they can't see past their nose, because one day that's going to run out. But hopefully the army will do the right thing, and hopefully Bolsonaro is right when he says the best is yet to come. And a couple of days later, he told his fellow citizens, if you only knew. So let me just see what's going on in the chats, folks. I've been talking, so... That's right, gardens. So many people don't know how to grow tomato. Okay, folks, I'm sorry. Whatever happened to the first half of this video. Yes, please hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and I thank you all so much for your support. Anybody seen Norm? Norm, thank you for helping me. Aaron, thank you for helping me. I've got a link for Buy Me a Coffee in the description for anybody that wants to help the channel out. And along with Aaron and Norm, I thank Kristen, Sin, Pamela, Wanda, Robin, Dory, Sandy, Donna, Nikki B, Killer Fuzz, somebody 1, somebody 2. And you all hang in there too. I'll hang in there, Donna. You know that. Ha ha. I can go over the bumps in the road. I can tell you that. And I really wish I could find that video of the... I got some stuff in here that was... Oh, here we go. Here we go. The top part is in Espanol. The translation is, the government of Chile places special forces on standby to travel to Brasilia if requested by the Brazilian government. President of the country talks about the need to guarantee the democratic government. So Chile may be getting involved, and I made mention of that a couple of weeks ago, that they had threatened to invade. And I didn't notice in the chats if anybody else had heard, other than from me, that there was going to be a march on the Capitol today. And it turned out I guess I don't like using that term intel. I like using information. I guess my information was correct. But I didn't see anybody else saying, hey, there's going to be a big march on the Capitol in Brazil. But I was talking about it last night and a couple of broadcasts before, that there were people by the hundreds of thousands gathering with a trucker convoy, car convoy, coming by bus. So it happened today. And one young man posted, if I get arrested tonight, pray for me. So, keep that in mind. A lot of people might get arrested or worse. Keep that in mind, folks. So, this is Mountain Man. I've had a good time with you all, and I'm going to play this one for the way out. And thank you for joining me. This is Mountain Man. Over and out.
Get your pencils out, lick them, and get ready to write this down. It is not going to happen. We are not going to go off into that good night without standing up for our rights. It's time for the law-abiding American patriot in this nation to stand up and say, hell no, we will not go, and you will not take them, and we will continue to stand strong for what we know is right. We will protect ourselves. We will protect our children.